there was a moment I realized that I was being completely out of alignment with my authentic truth is when I crashed from burnout and situational depression. Everyone thought that I was killing it, top of the world. And when you have that dissonance, right, when you have that lack of incoherence, that of course creates a ton of shame. I had to really unravel into facing this real root reason of why I had fallen so out of coherence, which was I had built a business and a life and an identity based on a story that was never mine. And that story is a story that a lot of women get told, that in order to be successful, to make an impact, to live a life worth living, to have a purposeful meaning here, we have to operate in this 3D linear construct of the patriarchy. Like, I'll just say that. It's a lie. The story isn't even a story, it's an illusion.
Welcome to the Anniston Riekstins Show. This space is created for the woman coming home to her voice, her power, her way. For the woman remembering who she really is, beneath the noise, beneath the roles, beneath the world's expectations. I'm Anniston, transformational guide, spiritual teacher, best-selling author, and creator, here to walk beside you, to share stories, wisdom, and energy that guide you back home. Here, we lead from the inside out. We create from overflow, not hustle. We rise not by becoming someone else, but by remembering who we've always been. This isn't just a podcast. It's a homecoming. So let's dive in. Welcome back to the Anniston Riekstins Show. I am so glad you're tuning in today because do I have a special conversation to share with you. But before we dive in, I just wanted to take a moment to tell you why this conversation matters to me. I discovered Jessica Zweig about a year ago, and like so many of the right teachers do, she didn't show up randomly. Her book, The Light Work, quite literally found me at a moment when I was being asked to step into deeper truth, deeper visibility, and deeper self-trust. Jessica is an author, an entrepreneur, and founder of the Feminine Frequency Business School, where she teaches women how to build wildly successful businesses without abandoning themselves in the process. Her work bridges strategy and soul, helping women lead, market, and create from alignment rather than force. She's been featured in major media, built multiple seven-figure companies, and yet what makes her work so powerful is not the accolades. It's the embodiment. What I love about Jessica is not just what she teaches, it's how she lives it. She is unapologetically willing to be seen. She tells the truth as she experiences it, even when she knows not everyone will agree with her, validate her, or understand her. And in doing that, she gives permission to every other woman to do the same. You don't have to believe what she believes. You don't have to follow what she follows. And yet, her frequency activates something in you anyway. There's something about the way she stands in her truth that wakes up your own. That, to me, is divine feminine leadership. Not perfection, not performance, not being palatable, but embodiment. In this conversation, we talk about what it really means to lead from the inside out, to be visible without self-abandonment, and to trust yourself even when the world is loud. This episode is a masterclass in feminine leadership, truth-telling, and remembering who you really are. And I am so honored to share this conversation with you, sister. So let's get into it. Welcome back to the Anniston Riekstins Show. I am so excited you're here because we have Jessica Zweig in the house. Hi, Jessica. I'm so glad you're here. I've been looking forward to this.
Anniston, I've been feeling your frequency since the second I met your husband, who told me all about you. And he was like, you two need to know each other and you guys will vibe. And I'm excited to get that chance today and drop in with you. Thank you for having me.
Well, you have been such a teacher for me. And oftentimes as teachers, you don't always hear how you're teaching people, right, in the world. And your book, The Light Work, found me in a moment of my life at the very beginning of last year where, man, did I need it. Because I was going through a whole identity death and a whole identity rebirth. And I desperately was asking for, like, please, someone show me how to do this, right? And how to do this so authentically and so bravely and so courageously. And that book was such a breath of fresh air for me, but it gave me all the permission. Like,
every bit of permission that I needed to be fully me, you gave it to me. So I just want to start by thanking you and expressing gratitude from a raving fan who has probably gifted your book to at least 20 people.
Wow.
So
You're making me cry. Thank you so much for saying that. I literally have tears coming down my mascara now. I took a month-long sabbatical in Costa Rica to finish that book, and I remember finishing the last chapter and just bawling because I really was tuning in to all the women that were going to read it and like what I really wanted them to remember about themselves and to give them that permission. And I just remember feeling it's hard to describe all of my soon to be readers in the ether and the cosmos. Like I could feel you all. And so, you know, and I forget a reflection like that about my book. I'm like, I literally wrote it for you. Like it was for you through me. So thank you for receiving the way that you did. It really, there are no words to describe how much it means.
well, I will forever be grateful. It's such a reminder to me that, especially as women and as divine feminine leaders, like, man, we gotta follow those nudges, right? Like, if you hadn't have written that book and then it, you know, just the ripple effect. So I'm curious, I loved how in the book you defined light.
Yeah.
Could you share that with the listeners?
Of course. So I talk very openly in the book about my connection to the Pleiadians, which is an extraterrestrial star family cluster, like an actual constellation. But I believe that there's a civilization there, which I am from. And I read a lot of the books on the Pleiadians as I was kind of coming up in my spiritual journey. And basically, the way they define it is how I define it. And it's just a synonym for the word information. Light is information. Light is source intelligence. It's truth. It's not necessarily good or positive. It's just truth. It's information. Therefore, darkness is not evil, but just lack of information. And light literally lives in our bodies, like we're technology. You know, we have light codes in the form of our DNA threads and our genetic strands that is filled with our own unique information, because each and every one of us is a snowflake DNA, one of a kind embodiment of our own unique intelligence. And through the course of our lifetime, our ancestral lifetime, our evolution, our programming humanity here on this planet, just given the density of 3D and the matrix, as I often call it, which is a program of fear and disempowerment, we forget our own unique information. We forget our own unique intelligence, our own unique sacred power and sovereignty. And so when we tap into our own unique light, and I give a handful of ways to do that in the book, and it's really the basis of my work beyond the book, we remember who we really are. And when we remember who we really are with the truth of that information, we come alive. We live our own unique, authentic blueprint out loud. And the last thing I will say about light, I want to give a quick add on and not disclaimer, but I've learned through my own journey that the building block of the entire universe is love, right? Like we've come here in this incarnation on Earth School, intentionally forgetting that. That's what's dormant inside of our DNA, is the truth that as these light beings, our real role is to love, to be loved, to express love. And that is our assignment in our own unique timeline. So those two things are conjoined. Love is the emotion and the human experience, but our light is our own unique blueprint of how we do that in a way that serves humanity. Because I believe that's what we're here to do.
100%. That's so beautiful. I love it. And I think it was different for me because you hear be the light and all of these aspirational like bumper stickers right about light. And we forget that it is information and that our job is to connect to the light within ourselves and then shine that out. We actually overcomplicate it. And I loved how you were able to simplify it so much.
Thank you.
So something else I've really learned a lot from you is around identity. And I know you talk a lot about identity. And I'm curious, was there a moment when you realized the brand you were building no longer matched the woman that you were becoming? And if you could share that with us.
I think there were many moments that actually were happening that I wasn't necessarily conscious of. I want to give my former self And I say this for all of us that look back on parts of our chapters and are like, yuck, like, what was she thinking? What was she wearing? What was she doing with those fake eyelashes? Like, like, why was she working that way and friends with those people? Like, all of the experiences that we had on the path of our own evolution were beautiful and important, and we should honor those pieces of ourselves. But I had built this business that was really successful really fast. This was back in like 2020, 2017. Went from like net negative money in my bank account to like seven figures in revenue in 18 months. And I got hooked on this addiction to success, money, and hustle. And I was deeply unconscious of it. I was just like, I'm in all this abundance and I'm making all this impact. And yet I was never really safe in my system. I still had a lot of things to prove. I was still really operating from validation and obsession with being seen and proving my worth. And when you do that for so long, that's not sustainable. Even though I was authentic at the time to what I knew with the tools that I had, I was really running my body into the ground. You can only work at that pace because my business took off. It was like a rocket ship. And so to answer your question, there was a moment I realized that I was being completely out of alignment with my authentic truth is when I crashed from burnout and situational depression. I could not leave my house. I could not shower. I could not eat. I couldn't socialize. And this was happening inside the darkness of my own four walls of my home, while from the outside in on the internet and in people's perspective and projections and my team and my clients, everyone thought that I was killing it, top of the world. And when you have that dissonance, right, when you have that lack of incoherence, that of course creates a ton of shame. And I had to really look at that. It took me, a lot of healing and therapy and a ketamine protocol and a trip to Egypt and a near divorce. And like, it wasn't like, oh, I got the memo and now I have the plan. I had to really unravel into facing this real root reason of why I had fallen so out of coherence and what was really the root fragmentation, which was I had built a business and a life and an identity based on a story that was never mine. Mm-hmm. And that story is a story that a lot of women get told, that in order to be successful, to make an impact, to live a life worth living, to have a purposeful meaning here, we have to operate in this 3D linear construct of the patriarchy. Like, I'll just say that. Yeah. And it's a lie. The story isn't even a story. It's an illusion. It's made up. And I finally saw the discrepancy. I got the memo in my cells. And that was really the unraveling and the unbecoming to become, I think, what you read about in that book. And, I think the woman that you see now, that has become my biggest why and my biggest invitation to all women everywhere that are struggling with burnout and struggling with their own incoherence and are doing all the right things and working so fucking hard and feeling so off at the same time. And so that's really the answer to that. There was a series of events, but it was just like, eventually like the blinders came off and I was like, oh, this ain't it. And I'm going to figure out what is.
So you mentioned burnout, and I'm sitting here thinking about this year, 2026, Fire Horse, right? And it's all about embodiment. It's about being in your body and really facing the imbalances that are there. And for those of you listening, and I know you're really into numerology as I am, and Jessica is a Life Path Master number 11. And I have to ask her this question because you have literally mastered this. So you come here to master this, right? 11s bring all the energy, all the creative energy. Your fields are like 2 to 3 times bigger than the average humans, which sounds great, except when you don't know how to balance that energy. And it feels like total instability. And like, how do I integrate it and balance it and rebalance it so it doesn't burn me up? You know what I mean? So from a nervous system regulation perspective, what have you found that has really worked for you? Like in terms of, because I know you've got a lot going on, and just being able to stay embodied, stay stable and balanced.
Yeah, a great question. And I just want to really be truly honest here and say, like, I burnt out like to the depths of my cached system soul, like back in 22, went
Yeah.
on this healing journey. And I'm going to be real with you, Anniston. It's not like I've never experienced burnout since. Like
Oh, I'm
my
sure.
11ness, it requires
It's
me to
real.
kind of continue to learn that same lesson and continue to practice and be reminded, right? So 25 was brutal. I had a big bout of burnout, physical burnout towards the end,
Yeah.
but I know this about myself now, right? It can be a pattern. The nervous system is like going to be the OG root cause. And I never want us to not talk about this as a collective of women, especially. But I changed my lifestyle. I had to. I had to really carve out. I have an interesting relationship with the word boundaries. I feel like they're a little patriarchal in their origin. And I also feel like they're a bit reactive and defiant. They can be. And so I like to use the term sacred lines and really understanding that I am a queen. We all are. I have to have a castle with a guard and a moat with a drawbridge that is mainly up most of the time. And to really understand looking at my schedule and assessing my relationships and assessing my priorities and my own goals, my own needs, like what gets to enter my castle and what doesn't. And I've gotten really, really good at putting systems in place in my calendar just from a tactical perspective. I have a really beautifully structured week, like just to get ticky tacky. I don't start my days until 10. I don't take meetings on Fridays. I book a little mini retreat once a quarter. I take a month off now every July. I have really incredible people around me. I've hired a really strong team. I don't drink alcohol. I prioritize clean, organic, local. Local is actually the upgrade from organic if you can eat seasonally, because you're telling your body from a circadian rhythm perspective, oh, I'm here. I'm in Nashville. I'm eating potatoes from a farm 30 miles away, not pineapple that was grown in Mexico in the middle of winter, where my cells are literally getting the signal that I'm not really here and I'm not really in my body. Everything in that world fascinates me and it matters. I prioritize sleep. I am like a psycho about my 8 hours a night. My Aura Ring changed my life. I stopped working out really hard. I take Pilates a couple of days a week and I walk. I eat a lot of protein. I eat a lot of fat. I truly nourish my body. For years, I was so abusive towards my body, constantly inflamed, constantly hungry, constantly like too full, not hungry enough, overriding my system with inflammatory food and eating patterns. I've really done a lot. I work with a PEMF mat. I work with microdosing psilocybin. Being embodied in my body is like my full-time job.
Yeah.
And the truth is, even in my seasons of burnout, like I just had one, they're no longer as extreme as it once was when I was completely dysregulated. I didn't even know, no one had talked to me about the nervous system, Anniston, until I was
No.
like 40.
I know. I was like, it just never put two and two together. I guess consciousness wise, we weren't ready for it. Like,
Correct.
I don't think we were ready for it. But when everyone started talking about it, it was like, why have we not been talking
Right.
about this?
Right. It's the root of everything.
Yes.
Everything. Exactly. Like I was so hooked on adrenaline and cortisol that was just normal life
I was a
forever.
bobblehead, literally bobblehead, like up here in my head, mentally processing everything completely and just dragging her along
Correct.
with me. Like, you will
Correct.
go where I tell you to go.
Correct.
You will get up and you will keep going. And I just really want to ground. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing all that. Second of all, I want anyone listening to this to really hear you're going to have to make some choices and some changes. It doesn't happen by just you reading books about nervous system regulation, But the benefits, right? Okay, now let's talk about it from the difference, okay, of Jessica not regulated to Jessica when she is, right? Like, what does that look like? Because I think we always need to know what's in it for me.
Yeah. Oh God. Okay, great. Let's go
To make
there.
all of these changes
Let's go
because it
there.
sounds like a lot of work. But
It does. But okay, I just got the chills. Okay, so this is the shit that I live for. This is the thing. Okay. The difference between Jessica, and it's going to sound actually so basic and simple,
yeah,
but it's not. The difference between a dysregulated Jessica is a bitch. She's cranky, she's ragey, she's moody, she's not happy. That's it. Like, I'm just not good. I'm not in a good place. When I am regulated, I'm joyous. Okay, and here's why I want to triple click into that word joy. because this is the work that I truly try and bring every woman that I work with, talk to in my community and my students. Joy is the cheat code to magnetism. It's the cheat code. So we are in our joy. We're basically activating the biggest electromagnetic force field in the human body, which is our heart space. This heart space in the human body is where we get to go up and connect with our higher selves. When we come into alignment, I use that word coherence, like we literally come into alignment with our physical organ, our heart, which emanates this frequency of joy and love and expression and presence and creativity and like abundance in everything. That's what our higher selves know to be truth. That is our true nature, I should say. Mm-hmm. And when we come into the state of alignment, we become magnetic. We emanate a magnetism that I often say, what do magnets do? We attract, right? And we're in this deep freaking narrative of like manifestation and like grow all this money and work less. Like, okay, great. I'm here for that too. How do you do that? Mm-hmm. How does that actually work? Both from a quantum, scientific, and an emotional level, you get into joy. And how do you get into joy? You have to become regulated in your nervous system. That's where joy is available to us. And so I find joy to be my job.
Yeah.
I have to experience joy in my life for anything in my life to flow. And if you're looking to build a brand, grow an online business, make millions of dollars a year, have an online community, like create financial freedom, blah, blah, blah. Where are you practicing joy? Were you giving your body the space to rest, to eat, to walk, to be in nature, to play, to ground, to heal, so that you can get into the frequency of joy?
You speak truth. And I know this because I geek out over the energy of words and I translate into Hebrew and I do this whole thing. So joy 100% equates to magnetism, abundance. But you want to know what is the true energetic equivalency of wealth?
What?
Fun.
Yes.
Yes. Fun.
No
Literally, like when I translated wealth into ancient Hebrew and then took the numeric, it was like, oh, of course. It's like the underlying seat. Because if you're someone who's having fun, you're not in fear. You're not in resistance, right?
I have full body chills. Like they're like up my body right now.
It's such good news. Really, it's such good news. Now the work is to remember how to be in joy and to have fun again, right?
Yeah.
Which is so feminine. It really is.
Well, it's so feminine. And just to kind of go back quickly about my book, The Light Work, what inspired that whole book was this moment I had in Egypt, because I talk about my pilgrimage there when I was in Hathor's temple, who is a goddess, a feminine being who is the goddess of bliss. And I had this massive light body activation. I got struck by white lightning. You got to read the book. It sounds insane, but it happened.
It's incredible.
And it literally brought me here, right here in this moment, having this conversation with you. She said to me when I got that strike and I was completely open and I was hearing all the downloads of all the spirits clamoring at me to get my attention, I was open for like 60 seconds and I got all of this light downloaded into my body. And they said many things to me. I wrote them all down and I wrote about them in the book. But the biggest freaking headline message of that moment was, you have missed the entire plot of the human experience, and that is to have fun.
Oof. I'm so like goosebumpy because wealth is our natural birthright.
It's our birthright. Right? Exactly.
Oh, this is so beautiful. This is so good. So good. Okay. I want to talk about the Feminine Frequency School because this is 100% one of your hallmarks. And this episode is launching in February, which is a 3 universal month and a 1 universal year, which everyone listening, like, this is the month of you really stepping out and expressing as your unique self and really landing into how you authentically are meant to express and to create. And that is, I know, a huge part of why you started the Feminine Frequency School. So tell us a little bit about it.
Oh, and I love that it's the 3 month and that my higher self, oh my God, my higher self plans things on like the Chinese New Year, like the new moon, full moons, that I'm always catching up to these dates, like in the 3D. So the Feminine Frequency Business School was actually just to go back to that moment in Egypt, because it's really, really true. That moment altered the timeline. Like I died in that moment and I was reborn. Crazy things happened to me. I got sick. I couldn't talk. Like it was really crazy what happened in that moment. And just to go back to that moment where they were like, you've missed the whole plot of the human experience. It's supposed to be fun. You want to know what else they told me? They told me verbatim that the feminine frequency is returning. They used the word returning. And I'll get to that in a second. And they said to me, Jessica, you are a leader of this moment in humanity. And then they went on to say, and this is imperative, they said, but not just you, because you're only one woman. It's all women's role to be a part of this reclamation of the buried, forgotten, destroyed, written out, matriarchal consciousness of the feminine power on this planet. It is returning now. And we, as a collective of women, have to, in order for us to restore the planet for future generations. I believe we are that important. We incarnated here at this time for this moment, whether we have children or we don't. What we do in this incarnation, in this window of time, is going to completely shift the dial of how consciousness evolves moving forward. And it is not about the feminine taking over. It's about it coming back into right relationship and sacred union with the masculine. That's why this planet's so fucked up, because we've overvalued the masculine in every way. It's so insidious. We don't even see it. And we have internalized it as women, as we were talking about before. So to get back to the Feminine Frequency Business School, this really came from Hathor. This came from the Egyptian codes that I got in those temples to create a school that taught women how to be leaders. This is how you can use your own unique gifts to make money and to be seen for it, full stop. How to run a true operationalized organization called a business without losing your feminine flow and fun, as we were talking about. How to stay connected to the goddess that is you, while also being a badass businesswoman. And so the school has taken off. We've graduated over 200 women in the last year and a half. I open up a cohort twice a year. My next one is happening right now as this podcast is coming out. I couldn't think of a better time to jump into it because it's the top of the Lunar New Year. The Fire Horse Medicine is crazy massive. I've been getting so many downloads about it. I'm sure you have too, like how big of a deal this year is to be a woman stepping into her leadership. And it's a 12-week program. It's group coaching and it's a certification. So you walk out as a certified feminine frequency business leader that changes the way that you're seen in the market. You know, it's an MBA level curriculum. I've actually had women come through this program that have taken MBA programs and PhDs, and they were like, nothing holds a candle to what I learned here. Women are getting TED Talks, launching podcasts, launching books, making $90,000 a month the second they graduate. I had a woman last cohort who made more money in 3 months than she did in the entire 12 months before. It's not just a business school. It's a transformational program. Things happen on an alchemical level. And I really believe it's not even me. It's like what came through me in Egypt that's like here to be known, because you will learn true elevated business acumen. You'll learn everything about branding and marketing and sales and operations and public speaking and leadership and how to create an aesthetic and all of the things that are needed to really show up today as an entrepreneur. But there's a frequency inside of these containers. And I think a lot of it has to do with the women that I call in, because it is a sisterhood, it is a community. And these women all form friendships and connections and do business with one another and become best friends with it's magic. But it's really a transformational mystery school disguised as a business school. It's the best thing I've ever created. And I say that with so much humility because I feel like I was simply the channel. And it's opening soon, and doors will only be open for about a week.
Well, if it's okay, I want to share something with you because I looked at your soul blueprint before we got on, because that's how I like to really get to know the energy of someone. And it was so interesting, Jessica. And this is based on your birth name. And you have these gifts, and I've never seen it before. You have these two gifts. One of them is the most powerful feminine frequency number there is. It's the number of the dragon. And it's like this, it's someone who just has this knowing, like this fire within them, and it creates remembrance in others of the power they have in themselves And then you have another gift, and that's the feminine. The other gift is the most powerful masculine frequency, which is all about creating stability and self-mastery, but through sovereignty. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's literally has the feminine masculine balance. Like, you could literally just stand in a room and people surround you, they're going to be integrating and balancing their feminine and masculine energy and really tapping into their deepest power and remembering their sovereignty just by being in your proximity. So when you say yes, you're channeling and it's your frequency. So when you say feminine, I literally laughed to myself. I was like, the feminine frequency school, of course, because it's all about the frequency.
Thank you for that reflection, girl.
I had to share it. I was like, I'd want to know. I want to know.
I full body chills again, all down up my spine and body while you were saying all of that. And I think that, I guess it's the way I was born, right? And, I was in Avalon last year. I went to Glastonbury, UK. And
I've been. It's amazing.
it's amazing. Like, I feel like you fly up to London and you go to this little portal in another dimension and spend time in Avalon, and then you fly back down and you're like, oh yeah, the patriarchy again. Like, it's such an other world. You know what I mean? It's like such an other world.
Yeah.
And it's the home of the goddess, right? Like, that's what they say. That's why I went. And everywhere you go in Avalon, there's the Vesica Pisces, which is the two circles intersecting one another, which represents sacred union between the masculine and the feminine, right? And I was like, we're here in the land of the goddess. We're here in the land of the original ancient priestess mystery schools.
Yeah.
Everyone's flowing dresses here and wearing flower crown. Like, but yet the masculine is equal to the feminine. It's essential to the feminine in this land that could not be a deeper embodiment of the goddess.
Yeah.
And I think that when I look around, and I don't want to characterize, we're not talking about gender, and there's no calling out here. It's just my observation and in the women that I coach and the women that I work with and me, like my own journey too. We're on one side of the pendulum or the other, right? Like, we're either way too much in our masculine unconsciously, and we burn out and we become resentful and dysregulated. I mean, that's not our truest nature as women in a female body. And then the other side of the pendulum are women that love being in their feminine, came into this lifetime to fully get down with that energy and are always in their creativity and love emotion of feeling and flow and beauty and want to just stay there. Yeah. And they don't create traction for themselves. And you truly need both. You need both, and you should not be afraid of either. You should embrace both as your true superpower as a woman today. And men have feminine in them as well. Like, I say that men who are able to tap into their feminine hearts, like your husband.
Yes. He's very integrated in both sides.
Loved him. Men who are in their hearts will help us heal this planet.
Yeah.
And women who find their masculine power will help lead this planet in a new paradigm. Because if you think about it, and I think about this all the time, and this is going to make me sound like a super big feminist. I don't consider myself a feminist. I consider myself a humanist. Mm-hmm. But if women were running countries, if women were running global corps, if women were running government and institutions and spiritual centers, we would be in a different world. Yeah. And I'm here to help women step into leadership at the end of the day, in whatever form that looks like, whether it's leading a small community, a team, your own family in a different energy, yourself. And that's the returning is women remembering that's our role here. It's literally our responsibility.
And I love that you said responsibility, because with remembrance comes responsibility. Yeah. And that requires structure. It requires to have, somewhere for all this beautiful, feminine, flowy, creative energy to have a container for, right? And so you need to have both, and being led and being guided more so by someone who can show you what that looks like, because unfortunately, we just haven't had a lot of models for that. Okay. As women. We have been grossly underprepared for that. But now is the time. Now we need a great redistribution of wealth. We need women stepping up. We need all of this. So the Feminine Frequency School is coming at a perfect time. And I'm going to link this. And I really, really, really want to urge any of you that are listening to this that are feeling that pull and that you're feeling that inner, like, oof, this is hitting. This sounds like something that I need. Like, I really want to encourage you to apply because it will change your life. So thank you so much, Jessica, for coming on today and for sharing your beautiful light and your energy with all of us. It was incredible.
Anniston, you're incredible, sister. I was so excited to meet you. Your husband like stole my heart and raved about you. And I was like, well, I'm going to get on her show and we're going to do this
See what
thing.
she's all about.
You're beyond. And I am so grateful that you read my book and that it supported you. And in this conversation, for whatever it's worth, was so deeply supportive of me. Like, thank you for the reciprocity and the reflection and the activation that it is to just be in your presence. You're really, really something. And I'm honored to have gotten the chance to share this with your community today. Thank you for the co-creation.
Well, I love you a lot, sister. So thank you so much. And to all of you listening, I want to thank you for tuning in. I love you. I see you. Go out in the world, do your thing, and I'll check you on the next episode.
Thank you for being here, beautiful soul. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love for you to pass it along to another woman who might need these words today. And if you feel called, it would mean so much if you would take a moment to rate and review this podcast. It's one of the best ways to support this work and help these messages reach more women who are ready to remember who they are. And if you'd like to stay connected or share what's landing for you, come find me over on Instagram. I'd love to meet you there. Until next time, keep trusting your rhythm. Keep honoring your voice and keep becoming the woman you were always meant to be.